They know it's because that got changed. Oh, yeah, yeah. A sign on the building that says KGEM.
On the inner part or the outside?
Outside.
So like facing all of it? No.
No.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, no, well, yeah, because it's, you know how
He can't hear.
Okay.
Sergio's hearing is bad. You didn't know
He-
that?
What's that?
His hearing is bad.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Oh,
he can't hear.
external.
There you go. It's all right.
Okay, are we ready, gang? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our council meeting this evening. Yeah. This Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2026, and I will call our meeting to order at 7:31. And we are convening our meeting this evening in honor of Zion Patrick Smith, born April 2nd, 2026, to parents Rena and Julian Smith, grandparents Dr. Kelly and William Kelly, grandparents. So, welcome, baby Zion.
so cute.
Very cute. Look at all that hair. Love it. And this evening, our invocation, now I see Barbara's in the, I know it's Karen, right? But Barbara's there too. So at any rate, I'll call up Karen Master Giovanni, and she will be providing our invocation this evening, followed then by the Pledge of Allegiance by Council Member Edward Belden.
Well, first I want to say happy Cinco de Mayo. Yay. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for everything you've given us. We thank you for this day and for the opportunity to come and gather this evening in the beautiful city of Monrovia. Thank you for the mayor, the city officials, citizens, and everyone who's come out to participate in the city council meeting. We ask you to guide our thoughts and actions and to give us direction so this meeting will be filled with wisdom, productivity, cooperation, and a mutual respect for one another. As we put our hearts and minds together, we thank you for helping us to accomplish our goals for the good of Monrovia and for all who love it. We pray these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Please rise and stand. Face our flag. Ready? Begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't have the proclamations. Oh. Hello. Okay. Very special evening. This evening, we are going to be honoring we had two study sessions before this, one at 5 for the bike master plan, and then the following one was our first budget session. So at any rate, hold on a sec, got to get my paperwork in order here. Then our first, we had no closed session. Oh, I forgot. Roll call. Do we have roll call? We are here.
It must be Chris.
Council members Belton,
Here.
Dr. Kelly,
Here.
Spicer,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Jimenez,
Here.
and Mayor Shipman.
I'm here. Okay, then we did not have a closed session, so there is no report of closed session. But we did, like I said, we had 2 study sessions starting at 5 o'clock. So those were great. I'm sorry you all missed them, but you can, were those filmed? Were those videoed? Oh, okay. Starting then with PR1 proclaiming May 2026 as Older Americans Month and recognition of the 2026 Older American of the Year honoree for Monrovia. And we have Tiffany Peterson, our recreation supervisor, and she will, you want to talk first or?
Whatever you'd like.
Well, seeing that I'm the oldest, I'm the older American on the council, I'll read the proclamation this evening. Whereas the City Council of the City of Monrovia continues to recognize the thousands of senior citizens residing within the City of Monrovia, and whereas in doing so, the council acknowledges the wealth of experience, education, and wisdom the senior citizens of Monrovia represents, and whereas it is believed that by proclaiming a special month to highlight the activities and interests, the public will be made aware of the scope of available services to senior citizens in the City of Monrovia, and whereas older Americans are an essential support to their families, friends, neighbors, and peers, and we know there is more we must do to ensure that older Americans can live and age with dignity. And whereas during Older Americans Month, we honor these citizens and we pledge to support their futures. Now therefore, I, Becky Shovelin, Mayor of the City of Monrovia, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Older Americans Month and recognize Sandy Burrid as the Older American of the Year for the City of Monrovia for her continued service to our community, and further urge all residents to honor and thank those older Americans in your lives, dated this 5th day of May 2026. And Tiffany, take it from there.
Alrighty. Well, good evening, Mayor Shevlin and council members. This evening, we have the honor of assisting you with recognizing the Older Monrovian of the Year. May is nationally observed as Older Americans Month. The 2026 theme is Champion Your Health, which focuses on prevention, wellness, and personal responsibility as key pillars of healthy aging. This theme encourages older adults to take an active role in their health management, self-advocacy, and in making informed decisions that support independence. This year, we had 10 amazing Older Monrovians nominated for this award and who have displayed this year's Older Americans values all year long. We wanted to introduce and celebrate all the great work that our Older Monrovian Award winner, Sandy Burrid, has done this year. Come on up, Sandy, while I talk about you.
Come on up, Sandy.
Sandy's community involvement has been an important key in keeping Monrovia's history alive. She is the president of the Monrovia Historical Society, leading the effort to revive it in 2015 after a decade of inactivity. She then oversaw restoration of its Anderson House Museum and its reopening to the public. She recently shepherded the transition of its ownership to the city to ensure its long-term preservation. She has directed the Monrovia Legacy Project since it began 10 years ago. It has about 15 historic photographs and 15,000 historic photographs. And documents available digitally to the public and has over 100,000 searches. She's also published 4 books on Monrovia history from those archives. She also leads Monrovia Changemakers, a nonprofit group devoted to combat bigotry by sharing the stories of Monrovians who had made our city a fairer place. Her collaboration with the Monrovia Historical Preservation Group, the Monrovia Historical Museum, and others related in a more inclusive Live Oak Fall Cemetery tour by MoPeg and a fascinating Monrovia Days of Yesteryear's exhibit. Sandy hasn't stopped there. She was also on the Route 66 Centennial Committee, celebrated just this past weekend on May 3rd. The Historical Society brought back a giant orange, like Richard and Maurice McDonald had, that sold fresh orange juice to the travelers on Route 66. It was one of the two McDonald's food stands in Monrovia and the seeds of their iconic business. Last year, she spearheaded a project to educate us about Anna H. and Dr. Sophia Jones, who had battled incredible prejudice but managed to change education and medicine in the U.S. Still, they were virtually unknown in Monrovia when they were retired and were buried in unmarked graves. With KGEM's help, Sandy created the video, The Incomparable Jones Family, that was shown at a gathering to honor them when their beautiful new grave markers were unveiled. The video clearly touched a nerve. It's had over 100,000 views on YouTube. That project showed Sandy's vision and determination to use the power of history to inspire us to keep moving forward, no matter the odds. We look forward to seeing what Sandy does next.
That's great.
We are excited to celebrate Sandy on this Older Monrovian Award and would like to share that we're going to be recognizing her next week at the Monrovia Days Parade on Thursday, May 14th. She's going to be riding in an amazing convertible. And she'll be also recognized at some other events, including the holiday parade at the end of the year on December 3rd.
And isn't that orange going to be somewhere?
Monrovia Days at the Monrovia Days of Yesteryear's exhibit at the community center.
If it doesn't rain.
If it doesn't rain, it's pop in the meantime.
Okay, well, we will come down and get a photo op. Would you like to say a few words first?
I just want to say thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Uh,
From the air conditioner.
And thank you again, Sandy, for everything that you do. Thank you. Okay, moving on then to PR2, proclaiming May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month. And we'll have Mr. Spicer read that proclamation.
Is there somebody here?
We don't have anyone here especially for that. We can, for all of us, for
Okay.
good mental health.
It's all good. And whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and wellness, and whereas all Monrovians experience times of difficulty, stress, anxiety, personal loss, and challenge during the lifetime, and whereas the stress and worry over the health and safety of family and friends force isolation and financial distress, and it can all result in anxiety, depression, substance misuse and abuse, and tragically, even suicide. And whereas the lack of mental health awareness, resources, and tools leads to devastating impacts on the wellness of individuals and communities. And whereas mental health can affect anyone and it can develop at any time, its effects spreading well beyond the individual to family, friends, and coworkers. And whereas it is up to all of us to know the signs of mental health issues and lend a hand to those who are struggling to make sure they know that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. And whereas every business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, church organization, and citizens share the burden of addressing our overall community mental health. Now, therefore, I, Becky Shevlin, Mayor of the City of Monrovia, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month. And we encourage the community to fight the stigmas surrounding mental health illness and empower those affected by emotional distress and their loved ones to seek care. Dated
Go ahead.
this 5th day of May 2026, signed Mayor Becky Shevlin, city of Monrovia.
Yeah. Thank you, Larry. And I think all of us Monrovians can be very proud of the programs and the strides we've made in promoting mental health, especially with our SGV Care mobile response team that is dispatched through our police department, our community policing department, and also our SGV Care Solace program. It might be nice sometime soon if we might get an update maybe on our Care Solace program, which is essentially a concierge service for people needing services. And it's not just for mental health services, it's also for many other things, food, housing, and other needs. So we are able to provide that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Feek, it's through our opioid money that we get. No, we're not selling drugs the way I said that. So it's an opioid settlement program.
Becky, I think you've said more than enough.
Yeah. So, yeah, let the cat out of the bag. Okay. We don't have a photograph, but maybe if we could put that either in City Hall or the library. Thank you. Okay. PR3, proclaiming May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And our Mayor Pro Tem Sergio Jimenez will present that. And again, we don't have anyone to present that to right now.
Whereas the month of May was chosen as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese citizen, Nakahama Manjiro, I'm pronouncing it in Spanish, excuse me, Manjiro to the United States on May 7th, 1843, but also the anniversary of May 10th, 1869, completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, which was built by the hands of nearly 20,000 Chinese immigrants, and whereas Monrovia's population is more than 17% Asian American and Pacific Islander, also known as AAPI, by the 2020 census estimates, and includes devoted community members, artists, owners, business owners, educators, healthcare professionals, lawyers, clergy, first responders, and/or military personnel. And whereas we celebrate the achievements and contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders that enrich our history, society, and culture, and we must also acknowledge a darker aspect of the AAPI experience in America: discrimination, prejudice, and injustice, the most recently manifested itself in racist attacks on Asian Americans related to the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas today, more than 25 million Asian American Pacific Islanders live in the United States, through their actions, making America a more vibrant, beautiful, prosperous, and secure nation. Now, therefore, I, Becky Shevlin, Mayor of the City of Monrovia, along with the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Asian Pacific Heritage Month in Monrovia, and encourage all Monrovians to learn about Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage and work to combat racism and xenophobia. Dated this 5th day of May 2026, signed Mayor Becky A. Shevlin.
Thank you very much. And I think, too, we can be very proud with, especially the addition of our park, the Satoru Sanishi Park, as well as the neighborhood treasure in his name. And then the just this last Saturday, our Kiyoshi, Kiyoshi Kiramiya, our neighborhood treasure that we just unveiled on Saturday. So with that, thank you very much. And we are going to move on then to our student government report. And Elise? All right. How many days now?
I think 17 school days.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Shevlin, council members, and members of the community. Good evening to you all. First, we successfully held our annual prom last weekend, which was themed as a masquerade. The event has received incredibly positive feedback, and students have reported to have had a memorable evening, as it served as a positive celebration for both juniors and seniors as we approach the end of the school year. In addition, our juniors and seniors have recently completed SBAC testing. To support students during this testing period, we held a testing rally designed to encourage participation, boost motivation, and emphasize the importance of taking the assessment seriously while maintaining a positive mindset. We have also begun our Sign on the Line celebration, which is an important tradition that recognizes and honors our graduating seniors. This initiative celebrates their transition as they prepare to move on to the next stage of their academic and personal journeys. It has been a meaningful experience for both students and staff as we acknowledge their hard work and accomplishments. At the same time, AP exams have officially begun this week. Students across various advanced placement courses are currently participating in these exams. Teachers and staff have been actively supporting students by providing review sessions, encouragement, and academic resources to help them perform to the best of their abilities. Finally, as the school year begins to wind down, we are starting to look ahead and plan for the upcoming school year. We have begun to explore potential venues for next year's homecoming to ensure that next year's celebration is well organized, safe, and enjoyable for all students. Thank you all for your continued time and support.
Well, thank you very much. And again, I know you might have better things to do than spend the rest of your evening in a council meeting, but you're more than welcome to stay, and we always welcome all your announcements. Any comments or? Thank you very much.
Tell us what school you're going to.
Oh, yeah. What school?
I'm going to UCSB.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up on our agenda, order of business. I do not believe there are any changes in our order of business this evening. And so we'll move right on to our consent calendar, which all the items are considered routine in nature and can be enacted in one motion unless someone needs to pull something. And that's CC1 through CC6. And as I mentioned, the study session that was on the topic of CC6, which is the bicycle master plan update. And so
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the correction to CC4.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'll second it.
Anytime.
Yes, the resolution on item 4 did have some corrections to it. Specifically,
The original resolution allowed for the city manager to make any adjustments that FEMA required to the plan, but FEMA actually, after posting the agenda, approved the plan, so that portion of
Okay.
the reso was no longer needed.
Thank you,
great.
Alice.
Thank you very much, Alice. So we have a motion and
Second.
and a second. So then without objection or further discussion, so approved. Moving on then to, we're moving right along here. Reports, oops, went to page too far. Reports of city manager and, no, public input. See, my husband is here tonight, so he made me extra nervous. I'm blaming it on you, honey.
That's cold.
So, moving on then for public input, and I want to thank you all for being here this evening. This is your opportunity to address the city council on all items not on the agenda, and you will have 3 minutes to address the city council. You can also address the agendized items, AR1 as well, and the other items separately, but this is for items not on the agenda. Do we have any requests for public comment?
We do, starting with Sherry Lochner.
Sherry? Good evening.
Good evening. Just getting my timer started. Hello, everyone. I'm sure you know me by now. My name is Sherry Lochner, and I'm a resident of Monrovia. I grew up here in Monrovia and Duarte. I am here this evening to continue to advocate for day laborers and other people who are immigrants targeted by ICE. At the last council meeting on the 21st of April, I reported there had been 66 deaths as a result of ICE actions, including people who have died while in ICE custody. As of today, there are now 67 people who have died. The most recent person who died, his name is Denny Adan Gonzalez, a 33-year-old man from Cuba. He was detained at the Stewart Detention Center in Lumpkin, Georgia, since January of this year. At the time of his death, he was in solitary confinement and found unresponsive in his cell. His death is under investigation. These deaths reflect not only the violent enforcement actions by ICE and the Department of Homeland Security, but also instances of cruel negligence at detention centers. I make the following requests this evening of the Monrovia City Council. 1, continue to pursue obtaining the report investigating the circumstances resulting in the death of Carlos Roberto Montoya Valdez. 2, adopt an ordinance declaring Monrovia a sanctuary city. And 3, continue to work with us to establish a permanent memorial honoring Carlos Roberto Montoya Valdez. I and my colleagues have been attending these council meetings since last year after the death of Carlos Roberto. We will continue to be present at these council meetings to speak truth to power. We all should be deeply worried about state-sanctioned violence. We all should be worried about the death of our democracy. We all should be worried about the violations of human rights that go hand in hand with dehumanization. When state-sanctioned violence and abuse of human rights are tolerated, we all are complicit. Immigration status should never strip someone of dignity, due process, or their life. I urge the Monrovia City Council to take a stand against the dehumanization tactics that have resulted in these senseless deaths. You can do this by becoming more proactive into investigating the circumstances resulting in Senor Valdez's death and by enacting a city ordinance declaring the city of Monrovia a sanctuary city. And finally, I would like us to ponder the words of Roxane Gay, a writer and activist. All too often, when we see injustices, both great and small, we may think, that's terrible, but we do nothing. We say nothing. We let other people fight their own battles. We remain silent because silence is easier. When we say nothing, when we do nothing, we are consenting to these injustices. We will not be silent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Martha Mack.
Hi, Martha.
Hi, good evening. I'm going to read the names of the 67 people who have died during ICE raids or in detention. Jose Manuel Sanchez Castro, Pankaj Karan Sinj Kataria, Ramesh Amechand, Henry Donaldo Ruiz Guyen, Sarawit Gezeheng Dehene, Maxim Cherniak, Juan Alexis Tineo Martinez, Brian Rayo Garzon, Non Nuac Nguyen, Marie Ange Blaze, Abelardo Avellaneda Delgado, Jesus Molina Vega, Johnny Novieto, Isidro Perez, Tien Xuan Fan, Chao Feng Gay, Lorenzo Antonio Batres Vargas, Oscar Rascon Duarte, Santos Venegas Reyes, Ismael Ayala Uribe, Norlan Guzman Fuentes, Hua Ping She, Miguel Ángel García Hernández, Leo Cruz Silva, Hassan Ali Moed Saleh, Gabriel García Aviles, Kai Yin Wang, Francisco Gaspar Andrés, Pete Sumalo Montejo, Shiraz Fatehali Sachwani, Jean Willis Brutus, Fawad Saeed Abdul Qadir, Delvin Francisco Rodriguez, Nenko Staniv Ganchev, Luis Gustavo Núñez Cáceres, Luis Beltrán Yanes Cruz, Paradila, Victor Manuel Díaz, Eber Sánchez Domínguez, Jairo García Hernández, Lorth Sim, Julio Cesar Peña, Alberto Gutiérrez Reyes, Pejman Karsenes Najafabadi, Defi Michel, Irvin Cruz Nape, Emmanuel Damas, Mohamed Nazir Paktiawal, Roger Perez Jiménez, José Guadalupe Ramos Solano, Tuan Van Bui, Alejandro Cabrera Clemente, Aled Damien Carbonell Betancourt, Wael Tarabishi, Linda Davis, Jaime Alanis Garcia, Carlos Roberto Montoya Valdez, Josue Castro Rivera, Ruben Ray Martinez, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, Isaias Sanchez Barbosa, Keith Porter Jr., Geraldo Lunas Campos, Renee Nicole Macklin Good, Alex Jeffrey Preddy, Nurul Amin Shah Alam, and Denny Adan Gonzalez. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buried my speaker cards. Barbara Golar and Pastor Karen Mastrogiovanni.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening. We are here actually, really super excited that this is our third annual of us coming together, Monrovia Ministerial Association and the Interfaith Council and celebrating National Day of Prayer. And we're really super excited because the theme is One Community, Many Voices. And we just thought that that really kind of exemplified what we've been doing here in Monrovia and building community. So, and that is coming up Thursday, May 7th we're right here at Library Park. Oh, I keep saying right here when we're right over there.
Directions, yeah.
Yeah. Thursday, May 7th, at noon. So come and join.
And how long do you think that the?
It's an hour.
An hour.
It's an hour.
Everybody can come at lunch.
All are welcome, and we plan to eat after at one of the local restaurants, so please join us.
Yes, yes. So
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
And Corinne Ramirez.
Hi, Corinne. It looks like you also brought your fan club.
I did. Good evening, Mayor Shevlin, council members, and staff. Today, I am honored to mark my one-year anniversary as the Executive Director of the Monrovia Chamber, and I appreciate the opportunity to share an update of our work over the past year. First, I would like to thank the city council, my chamber board, my ambassadors for your continued support and partnership. Over the past year, the chamber hosted 39 networking events and participated in 62 community events, including coordinating council meetings, MOTAB meetings, Make a Difference Day planning meetings, the MAP conference, the wine walk, the new teachers breakfast, and city council meetings, among others. We strengthened community partnerships by collaborating with the Monrovia Community Adult School and participating in 3 job fairs to support workforce development. In addition, we held 30 ribbon cuttings to celebrate new members and the continued growth of our business community. Through our ambassador team's Walk the Block program, we have visited hundreds of local businesses, strengthening relationships and providing direct support. Both our community prayer breakfast and awards gala were sold-out events, reflecting strong engagement and community pride. This year, we welcomed 71 new members and retained 257 renewing members. We also conducted a new chamber logo campaign and would like to thank the community and businesses that supported or submitted your entry. We received some great logos. We are pleased to announce the winning design winner tonight, who has not been notified, but just so happens to be in the room.
Oh.
Barbara Golar. Oh, she left.
Do we have a picture of it?
We do. So this is her submission. So we had over 16 people submit logos. Did she leave? Oh. So this is the logo that is going to be the new chamber logo. Okay. While we accomplished a great deal, there is still important work ahead. I am excited for what the coming year holds and for the continued growth and success of our business community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you bring the picture up here so we
Sure.
can all see
Take a
it
look
here?
at it.
And I think you've got some people wanting to present some flowers to you. Would you like a picture with us?
Sure. Any way we can get in, we'll find a way.
I'm going to say on behalf of the Board of Directors, we are honored and privileged to have Corrine back with us.
Okay, good, good. Oh, there you go. There you go.
That looks so good. Excellent.
I was timing us.
That was me.
Hey, Athens. Yeah, no.
That's, yeah. Congratulations again, Corinne. Okay, do we have any other requests for?
I wouldn't leave. You don't know if anybody's going to be a winner for something tonight, so.
Oh, wait just a second here. Yeah. As the room empties out.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else wanting to provide public comment? Well, not seeing anyone, then I'm going to close public comment, and we will move on now to, we have no public hearings, and we will move on then to our reports of the city manager and staff. Mr. Feek.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just for the sake of time, the public may not know that council's been meeting since 5 o'clock this evening, so I'd like to go over, you've got the directives log in front of you. We'll continue working on items to complete them. I do want to speak to a couple items that are new, that are requests coming from neighboring cities. First, the city of Azusa has been lobbying Metro to install some safety enhancements at their metro location, including fare box stands. They want to have new gates. They're asking for cameras and some enhanced security features. The city of Azusa is also asking neighboring cities who have a metro stop to consider joining a letter of support from elected officials. That there's been an ongoing discussion between Azusa and Metro to look at enhanced safety improvements around their metro stops, and they're asking for our support so that the metro could look at it not just on a one city basis, but maybe looking at an application across several cities that could look at how they could engage with our communities, enhance the safety for riders, and do it in a way that is really fitting for each one of our communities. They've asked for a letter from the mayor, if the council is okay with it. I've seen the letter. It's really just inviting partnership and collaboration. So if you're okay with that, I'll ask for Mayor Shevlin's signature. Another item that has come up, Monrovia is not the only city that's been dealing with what feels like an increase in black bear encounters. There are other cities that have been engaging in their own encounters in their communities. There's been a discussion for several years about partnering with Fish and Wildlife to provide additional staffing. The idea for several cities. There are several cities who would like to partner through the COG to actually pay for an additional staff person to respond to calls here in the San Gabriel Valley. What I have shared has been our experience with Fish and Wildlife. We certainly have seen our own, number of calls, but we also have our own experience with Fish and Wildlife, trying to get them to respond, trying to collaborate and communicate with them. But I just want to share with City Council at this time, that there is a discussion happening amongst several of the neighboring cities about this joint effort. There are many which are very interested in helping participate. The more cities that do participate, the reduced cost will be per city. I've asked for a copy of the agreement that they've drafted. I'll circulate that to the city council. At some point, they'll ask us to talk about it as a council, and I'll bring that to you. I just wanted to make sure you are all aware that there's this discussion happening out there. It started several years ago, and really just kind of died and didn't move forward, but there are a few cities that have kind of brought that discussion back.
I would hope we would encourage to change their policy rather than give them more money to do this exact policy they're currently implementing.
I think just to point out Councilmember Belden's comment, we have asked for meetings with the California Fish and Wildlife to look at policies and how they actually approach bears here in Monrovia. Part of the challenge with an agreement like this is that not all cities are the same. Some cities react and live with wildlife, cohabitate with wildlife differently than others. And so I think there's just a lot of logistics to work through. I don't think it's a quick discussion, but I'm just providing that information to council.
I did talk to Harabedian. I'll go to you, Larry, but I did talk to Harabedian's office about the Senate bill that's out there. It was proposed by a senator in the San Diego area. I'm forgetting her name right at the moment. But when he anticipates that will be coming out of the Senate side, and when it goes over to the Assembly side, they will be discussing it. I don't have a status on the actual bill, but that had to do with actual changes in their practice.
I think it was SB 1135. We also spoke, Larry and I, with Mr. Hebedian, and we also spoke at the League of California Cities with the mayors of South Pasadena, Claremont, and Sierra Madre, specifically about the bear issue.
And what we really wanted to do was just be a part of the process. That was the main concern.
That's a good point to make.
Yes.
The last item I'd like to share with you is I received an email earlier today, which is something that doesn't come across my desk very often. Isabel Isla Olivas was born on May 5th, 1926, which makes her 100 years old today.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I'm not sure if she is listening. I'm going to share this information in our upcoming update, but she has lived here for all 100 years.
Oh, wow.
She met her husband, who has since passed, but they were married for over 50 years. She was blessed with 2 children, 3 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren, and 4 great-great-grandchildren. And she continues to inspire her family with a sharp memory, a strong spirit, and stories of Monrovia through the decades. And she has but one simple birthday wish: a Dodgers three-peat.
Oh, that's cool. That's
my update this evening. Thank you.
Okay, great. Could you, and I think you mentioned this at our last meeting, but in terms of Mr. Montoya, getting the records or any type of report, and we had talked about, I believe, making a records request.
Yes, the city has reached out multiple times to the governor's office, the attorney general's office. We filed an official Records Act request through the city attorney's office. They have requested extensions to review those reports. So the city has made repeated attempts, even spoken with our legislators. We'll continue to ask and we'll continue to follow up, but at this point, we've not received anything.
Thank you very much. Okay, RCM2 Spot Program Update, and this is Tiffany Peterson. Tiffany.
Thank you, Mayor Shevlin and council members. I'm very excited to be here to be able to send an update to you all on our new spot or our newly enhanced spot program over the last few years. We have some exciting new, opportunities for this program again this year, so we're super excited for it. This first slide here is our newly enhanced flyer that we have this year. This was actually created by our 2025 Yes intern that we had for our youth services program last year. She spent some time on it, so we'll be using that to promote the program, the front side of our brochure or our flyer for this year. So we're super excited about that. We're continuing to run the program on Friday evenings from 5 p.m. to 9:30 at Library Park. It's going to begin on June 5th and running for 10 weeks, again with a variety of activities, community partners, music, and some great food for the teens to enjoy. Next up, we just wanted to kind of give you a spot recap of 2025. With the support from you all, we've been able to provide an amazing program for the teams, and it keeps growing and getting great and great over the last few years. We've included shaded lounge areas for the teens that they really enjoy. They can, kind of kick back in a sense with their friends, play board games, engage in activities such as rock climbing, a dodgeball area, and a surfing simulator. It was really cool. They also enjoyed the mini golf and the laser tag that we're actually going to be bringing back this year. Last year, we put in a 37% increase in average team participation than in 2024. On average, we brought in about 142 teens per night compared to 100 in 2024. So the program is definitely growing and it's definitely getting out there. And in 2025, our highest attendance was 172 teens. So 62% of those were Monrovia Unified School teens. So it's a great feat to accomplish to be able to bring in that many teens just in our community here. Continue to get positive feedback from MOTAB, and local businesses have reported nothing but positive impact around town on Friday nights. They're really just kind of congregating in Library Park and enjoying their time for the 4.5 hours that we have participation time for them. And then there's some community partners that were heavily involved last year. Monrovia Area Partnership came out. Makers and Clay came out. Namaste came out a couple of times. Smitten on Paper came out. And we also had the Sidewalk Astronomers come out and do a variety of activities with the teens. So approaching this year, our approach is really just to continue to engage those 6th through 12th graders, still creating that teen-only space in Library Park to make it feel like their own and, no parent, like a parent-free night for them to, just be able to hang out and have fun. And then some just weekly activities that we're going to incorporate this time around, a mechanical bull. It is inflatable, I promise you. It has a landing pad that is very safe, a human foosball, which is very cool, the laser tag, a henna, and some video game trailer. Some new activities that we're going to kind of have too also around are going to be a billiards, pool soccer, a bungee basketball, and some button making activities. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those as well. And then some new treats we're going to incorporate, Raising Cane's, Mama's Juicery, and Dave's Hot Chicken. So they're all really eager to come out and provide us with some food, some delicious food. Really just continue to connect and build with the teens. We have a variety of different programs here in town that we can connect with, as well as through the street fair. And then consistent event staff on a weekly basis. They really build really great relationships with the teens, and they actually look for our staff when they come through weekly. So those connections are really important. Continuing to collaborate with the key community partners, and then doing those direct outreaches. We've already kind of connected with the schools while we're promoting from Monrovia Days. So we also have our team going out to connect with the SPOT program as well. So we're hitting Monrovia High School, Clifton, Santa Fe. We're talking about it all in Youth Commission with our Teen Advisory Board and also discussing it with the Monrovia Area Partnership. Just some program promotions that we've been already kind of doing. We've obviously included it in our Summer Today. We're going to be going to the Friday night street fair and doing Library Park promotions. We're actually going to be going at the end of the month to walk through the street fair to kind of see if there's any teens that are interested in joining the program. Definitely event posters and communicating that throughout the program. And then just, again, on-campus promotions through all of those schools. And then local business flyers displayed in their windows that we've partnered with in the past. And then the CM Weekly Update. Some of our partnerships that we have for Old Town merchants, a lot of them have been supporting us. So again, our meals are going to be from Raising Cane's, Wendy's, JB Burgers, and Dave's Hot Chicken, as well as Monrovia Pizza Company. A lot of these places either donate or give us a significantly good discount on food, so that's really great for us. Also, some special treats that support us with some discounts are Moo Moo Mia, Boba Box, and Mama's Juicery. Boba Box is really hit. I think we go through that probably within the first 2 hours of being out there. So we have a really good partnership with them. Weekly prizes, we do $10 gift cards to various places around town. A lot of the spots the younger crowds hit, so we try to get T-Pumps, Mama's Juicery, Cold Stone, and Black Cat Fables. Our youth internship program, we also have a dedicated intern with our team for our youth program, so they'll be coming out weekly to help us support, to give us an extra hand there. And then our community partners and our special weekly events. So again, Teen Advisory Board will be out there with Makerspace. Our Youth Commission will do hours, weekly hours with us there. Our Black Cat Fables will come out and host a booth on various evenings. Same with Makers and Clay, Namaste Beauty Lounge, and Simply Divine. And then this is just going to round out our schedule. So June 5th, we're going to start with one of our highlighted events that we had last year that brought in a lot of teens. So we're going to do glow in the dark mini golf again. We're going to do on the 12th, we're going to kick off the World Cup kickoff. So that's when human foosball's coming into town. Next up, we have the Wild Wild West week with the Mechanical Bull. The 26th of June, we're going to be doing laser tag, which was also a hit last year. July 3rd, we're going to take time off just to prepare for our 4th of July event. July 10th, we'll have some game night with a lot of variety of board games and some really good snacks. And then we'll bring out some of the specialty items that were a big hit with the sports items that we have that we'll put around the park. July 17th, we wanted to incorporate a 50s night, especially with the Route 66 Centennial. So we're looking forward to that evening. July 24th, we're going to have the bungee hoops and some really good treats that night. And July 31st, we're going to have a dodgeball tournament, which was also a pretty big hit last year. And then August 7th, which will be rounding out the summer with a billiards soccer game. So we have about a handful of those are new this year. And then we've incorporated a few additional ones that were exciting for them last year. So
Are you going to enforce an age limit? A lot of those things look very inviting to us older folks.
Along with the medic.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
just
the
put our
paramedics
hats
standing
on.
by for the, yeah.
If you need any testers ahead of
Right.
time.
If you see people with glasses and hats, don't just look away.
Yeah,
Just look away.
But thank you again, Council, for supporting this amazing program. We couldn't do it without you. So we are totally looking forward to another great program of Spot. And, you know, our team is eager to get out there. And before we know it, it'll be June, and we're going to be having a great time in Library Park. So thank you.
Sounds like a great time.
And
Thank you,
guys
Tiffany.
always do such a good job
Thank you
as
so much.
well. I had an opportunity to go a couple of times, and you guys are friendly, you're there, you're present, and you guys are just as excited as the kids. And I really appreciate the research that you guys do to see what games actually work and what doesn't work. And I can tell by the switches and the things that you guys have highlighted, and there's a lot of thought that goes into it. So good job on that.
Thank you. And if you really all want to try it, just come by before 5 and we'll get you in.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Now,
Careful
when's
what you
dinner?
ask
What time
for.
is dinner is what I want to know.
We usually do it kind of almost like nightfall, not really nightfall, but like maybe like 7-ish when
7?
it
Okay,
starts
got
picking
it.
up.
Got it. Sounds
Just come to
good.
the back side of the tent.
I
We'll get
will. I will.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, RCM 3 Broadband Assessment Overview, and we have Victoria Rocha, Deputy Public Works Director, who will be providing this presentation.
Good evening, Council. I was sitting back there with Sherry, and I was coached that to keep your enthusiasm, I'm supposed to do broadband, because you've been here for so long. So thanks, Sherry, for the tip. So I am here today to present on Phase 1 of our broadband assessment that we've been going through. And just to give the overview, we'll go through the background, the Monrovia's broadband snapshot, the key challenges, recommendations, and next steps. So within the background, the California Public Utilities Commission released a local agency technical assistant grant program in 2022. This was specifically just for doing assessments, nothing with implementation or putting anything in the ground, just talking about what cities and regions have for broadband services. So we received our grant in 2023, and then we awarded a contract with EN Engineering, used to be known as Magellan, and the short name for it is Entrust. So they were the ones who were conducting our assessment. We also worked with them to subcontract with telecom law firm, who the city has worked with before, to also do a 450-point outside plant survey as a subcontractor. So plant survey meaning he did a survey of what does SCE and telecom poles look like? What are the condition of those poles? Later, as we got through the assessment and we realized kind of we might actually be a very built-out city, we went back and negotiated the contract, had an amendment. We took some of that money and actually partnered with Medea, who's a local group that you all are probably familiar with, and telecom law firm to really deepen and extend our assessment to be very, very Monrovia specific, which I'm excited for, and we'll talk a little bit about where that's going. So this is, today I'm talking about Entrust assessment, which was completed in 2025, the end of 2025. So some of the strengths coming out of that is that our fiber availability is on par with the strongest coverage levels in the region, as well as above several neighboring cities, placing it closer to the top tier of local performance. So for fiber access, Azusa has 79.9% of coverage. We have 78.8%. Then it starts to drop pretty quickly. Bradbury has 62.9%. Duarte has 59.7%, and Arcadia only has 33%, which might be a little bit surprising. Yes. And that's really for fiber that's in the ground, so things that are coming through fiber cable or coaxial cables. You also, though, have wireline, so fixed wireless transmits over the air from tower to tower. We have T-Mobile, Verizon, and to a lesser extent, we also have AT&T. So when you're talking about all of our providers, when you have Giggle Fiber, AT&T DSL, Charter Spectrum, Frontier Fiber, which was also acquired by Verizon in January of this year, and then you put on top of that our wireless providers that offer 4G and 5G internet with T-Mobile, Verizon, you have a lot of coverage here in the city of Monrovia. And I want to give council actually the credit to this. We've made ourselves such a development-friendly city that when you talk about market building, you look at everything that's going on with Station Square South and the Adept project, and you have this huge influx of customers coming in. It makes us a really friendly place to do business. Another provider that's coming in right now and doing work is actually Sonic. They're another fiber service. So we have even more on top of all those ones that I named. When it came to the outside plant survey, 80% was within compliance. So that's pretty good. It means we don't have a systemic issue. It's not that these things are being neglected. It just means that we need to keep a list, turn it over to SCE and the providers and say, please come fix your plant for our aesthetics. And then for the gap side of it, we still have 27% of residents who are testing below that California speed standard. And we're going to get into where we think the best way of bridging that gap looks like as we move forward. Unfortunately, with good build out means that a solution is not really grant eligibility. Our neighbors are probably going to have a much better chance of getting grants than we will when you think of 59 and 33% of coverage, which is again why we kind of pivoted into partnering with Medea and telecom law firm. And I just wanted to give an overview so you can visually see the coverage that's going on. And this is just fiber. Again, this is nothing to do with like the 5G internet. So you have AT&T DSL, which is copper that's going over your phone line. Small niche area, like small area only because copper is going out and you have more, fiber is a better and more stable source anyways. And so that's why you see better coverage with fiber. Charter Spectrum, big coverage there. Frontier Fiber, and then Frontier also has some DSL. And then of course, our big one, because we're headquartered, is Giggle. So you can see there's a lot of options for residents. Sonic so far, north of the freeway, they've built for serving Huntington Avenue to Central Avenue, bounded by city borders. And south of the freeway, they've built for Evergreen Avenue to Duarte Road, bounded by Mayflower Avenue and Myrtle Avenue. And we talk about pockets that maybe have less coverage. In the foothill regions, you have those pockets. And then in the southern regions of the city, Sonic is actually already starting to fill that gap. And they're not represented in the study because they started doing their work after the study started.
So Sonia, is that right around the transit village?
They are doing some work around the Transit Village, yes, but even further south from that. And I didn't put it into this presentation, but we do have a map, Public Works does, that we could provide.
Okay.
So coming out of the study, the number one thing that we really focused on as we move forward is that regional coordination recommendation that was made by Entrust. Because we are so built out, what we really want to look at is how do we increase marketability as a region to help fill our gaps, because you want to say there's an even larger customer base if you include other cities around us as well. When a telecom provider is mobilizing and they have more places to go, that helps increase that marketability. And we have that built-in partnership by having Medea, which is great. So that's Monrovia, Arcadia, Duarte, Irwindale, Azusa, and then the silent G of Glendora. And then we're actually adding Bradbury into that mix just because they're right next door. So the other recommendations that are up there, they are good recommendations, but they're kind of generalized recommendations. We don't want to focus on those yet because we want to get to the details of what's really needed for the region. So these might be good recommendations moving forward, but Medea's work and telecom law firm's work is going to look at what are all the neighboring cities doing? Where do our policies and procedures and permitting overlap? Where can we kind of get onto the same page? So that way when an ISP or an internet service provider comes in, they say, oh, you all have standardization. We want to build here because you've made it so easy for us to go to every single city and it's the same process. So what I would say is that City of Monrovia at this point, through this project with Medea, is providing leadership in identifying and solving broadband needs. We're really leading the way, and we're seeking solutions for residents, businesses, institutions, and broadband providers, and we're looking to open those partnerships. So this is the roadmap moving forward. I keep kind of gesturing this way because Brenda Traynor is a part of Medea, but she's actually also the subcontractor with Frontier Trail Strategies. I don't know if you know about Brenda's background, but it's
Conflict
huge.
of interest.
It's huge within this space, and it's such a pleasure working with her because she really, she's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, she knows her stuff.
She does know her stuff. She really does. So again, like I said, we're comparing policies and regulations, and then she and Jonathan with Telecom Law Firm, they're developing that guide to align those policies and constructions processes for ease of provider build out. And then on top of that, Medea is actually going to draft marketing materials for distribution to internet service providers and do some of that advocacy work and development work to try and get internet service providers to build out where we still have pockets, create competition within Monrovia, which is good, but also maybe even help our neighbors as we go.
And Victoria, I didn't ask you ahead of time, but since Brenda is here and we've talked about Medea so many times
Yes.
this evening, would it be appropriate, Brenda, did you have comment?
You want to come say hi? It's not like council knows you.
I must confess I had to take off the dog clothes today because Trixie and I were at the library, so I got myself cleaned up to look the technical professional that I am. It is a joy working with Victoria specifically and with the guidance that we've gotten from Dylan to take this project to, I think, a higher order than what was originally conceived, and that we've gotten the CPUC to concur with the direction in which we're heading is really significant, and it couldn't have been done without Dylan and Victoria's experience as well. So this is a very exciting thing to do, and I hope that we can find the opportunities. This is not nearly as big a grant as the Entrust got, but we're going to get us to the edge and hopefully see a lot of opportunities, and I hope subsequently we'll be able to make progress.
Will this do anything in that dead zone I have on Foothill
On
Boulevard with AT&T?
By Starbucks?
Yes, by Starbucks.
The Starbucks at
Yes,
the bottom of Foothill?
yes.
I sure hope so.
Oh,
We're
great,
definitely gonna target that area and try to get these companies together and address the needs that we're trying to identify. And more importantly, what we're trying to identify for the region so we can make this a smart region, so that we can do not only business better and get the redundancy for businesses that they so desperately need, but also to get our cities being smart cities and
Have a quick-
advancing with us.
Quick question, is it going to improve the systems that we have here within City Council? Because I know our systems go down quite
Well,
frequently.
this study won't do that, but we'll certainly be able to introduce ways that it could help.
It could help eventually.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it does come down to somebody's got to pay the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this project doesn't have any money to pay bills.
Yes, I
Yeah.
gotcha.
But you'll tell us what we need.
What we
It will.
need.
Certainly hope so.
Great.
Thank you, Brenda.
Madam Mayor, can I just ask one question? I know it looked like it was mentioned in there about sharing and kind of outlining when people are doing conduit and tunneling. And so how's that working right now? Are we having all these companies asking us to put in many trench work within our streets? Or are we so I assume that's challenging right now for us and also has a huge impact on some of our future paving projects.
So it's great that you asked that. Through the permitting process, yes, they have to turn in plans, they have to say where they're laying conduit and things like that. Luckily, though, a lot of this happened before some of the moratoriums went into place, but because we also have a process of the utilities coordination meeting, and that's been going on long before I ever came to the city, a lot of these projects have been previously coordinated alongside city projects, so they know when our streets are open, when the moratoriums start, when they stop, and that's kudos to the staff that had put that all in place prior to me getting here, actually. Yeah. Any other questions?
Great report.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Looking forward.
Broadband, okay.
And it's. Thank you. All right, then with that, we are moving on to our reports of city council members, and I will start with Mr. Belden.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I missed you all while you were out at Cal Cities doing great work. Did get a chance to go and participate in the Adrenaline Run Club in their second anniversary. They missed you all. So great group, had a huge showing. And there were a lot of events, but I think you all are going to cover them all. So I'm going to let you all cover them. And it's been a great few weeks. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Great. Mr. Spicer.
Just a few community updates. First, a reminder that applications for Monrovia Days Parade are due tomorrow. There are 6 awards up for grabs this year, including Monrovia Days Spirit Award, which will be presented to the best school entry that brings one of this year's, one of the 3 themes, Western, Route 66. Dang, my wife's not here. Yeah. Okay, so Western, Route 66, and America's celebrating their 250th birthday. Additional awards include Best Musical Entry, Best Float, Judges Award, and what's most unique is the overall. Also, just don't forget about the upcoming Community Festival. Wristbands can be purchased online or at the community center. The festival will feature carnival rides, games, youth performances, and live music, concessions, and more. Event hours are as follows. Friday, May 15th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday, May 16th from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. And on Sunday, May 17th from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Lastly, our summer concerts series will kick off Memorial Day weekend. Sunday, May 24th, featuring Stone Soul. That's a really good band, Stone Soul. We encourage residents to bring their chairs and enjoy an evening under the stars. And like Edward said, I'll pass it on to the other council members so they can report on some of the things we did.
Okay.
Pardon me?
What park on the 24th?
Oh, Station Square.
We do first, I think we're doing the same
Yeah.
process.
Right,
six-
Rebecca?
6 at Station Square
Yeah.
and then 6
Yes,
at
yes,
Library
yes,
Park.
Yes.
Okay, Tamala.
Hi.
Well, did you guys meet my cute grandson or
Yes.
what? So cute. He's 4 weeks. He was 4 weeks on Saturday. That's part of my report, by the way. I just, there were so many events, wonderful events, but I was so impressed with the hard work that went into Route 66, along with the MOPEG community that did the home tours at the exact same time. I got a chance to be a docent for the museum, as well as was there on on Thursday for the kickoff of the new display. It was just a beautiful time, and I just wanted to take the time to recognize my colleague Sergio for putting in so much work behind the Route 66 celebration along with the team. I know Edie's here and the whole team that did so much work behind it. I saw the details, and I know it started off with a little rain. I know you guys were a little nervous about it, but it turned out to be an amazing, amazing community day. I had my little In-N-Out burger at Fred's, and I was excited. I had to sneak out of, if I could be honest, out of my docent responsibilities. I said, I'll be right back, and I went to go eat my burger, but I did go back to the museum, but it was a beautiful day.
And Vicki Hansen as well.
Yes, I couldn't think of all the names. I know I shouldn't have started, but absolutely, they did a lot of hard work, particularly, she's with the museum, right?
With the
Vicki?
museum, and she also is
Yeah.
with Seven Gables, a real estate office.
Okay, so that's so
In Old
amazing.
Town.
Okay, so I wanted to share that the Veterans Resource Center is hosting a Veterans Dinner tomorrow, Wednesday, May 6th, from 6 to 8, and they're always fun, wonderful food, and it is free. So please join. It's at space is limited, so contact the library to sign up for more information. This Saturday, join the library team in our Park Nationalists for story time with the Park Nationalists, 10 a.m. at Station Square Park. Save the date for the summer reading. That's always such a big deal. I can't even remember the big number for the summer reading program, but it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So make sure you register early for that. It starts June the 6th. Wonderful prizes, and it's just a good time from 12 to 3 in Library Park. That's it. That's all.
Becky, can I?
Sure, Larry.
Yeah, I left something out. We also had a MAP conference.
Yes.
And we had 130 participants.
Yes.
Normally, we have right around 80 to 90 people that attend. And we also ended up with over $5,000 in sponsorship money. And all the food was sponsored. We also had 25 local organizations, nonprofits that attended, and many first-time attendees. But I just want to say to Sherry, Carrie, and I keep forgetting the young man's name. Eric. Man, they did an awesome, awesome job. It was one hell of a conference. I really enjoyed myself, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the council.
Yes.
Okay, my apologies, Mayor.
Excellent.
Oh, wait a minute, I don't.
Okay, you're welcome, Mayor Pro Tem Jimenez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This past weekend, we had a Monrovia Route 66 celebration. We started off on Thursday at the Historical Museum, and it was really special to see the detail that was put into the display. They recreated buildings that are no longer Route 66, as well as replicated the buildings like the Flying A gas station that are right there. Thank you to the Mark Houston Trio Jazz Band that played period 40s, 50s music. It was incredible. They also had free ice cream and donuts from a Helms Bakery truck and a Good Humor truck. And then the celebration went on to Sunday. On Sunday, we had a big partnership, and I want to thank the people involved, individuals and organizations that were involved in that, including Vicky Hansen, Edie Ramirez, Ed and Megan Carpinelli from Street Routes Forever, Tracy French from Fred's, Norm Haley, Mike Andrews, Sandy Beard, Mopeg, and the Monrovia Historical Museum. Please forgive me if I left somebody out. There's so many people that were involved. I want to say how personal to Monrovia it was. Steve Baker's car, I don't know how many people were there to see it. It's a late 1940s Plymouth, and Jimi Hendrix has it, and he brought it. It's very special because we suffered so much by losing the historical expertise of both Gloria Crutchington and Steve Baker. So it was great that there was a memorial to him with his car there. There's also Monrovia's famous first fire truck that was there, the 1916 Seagraves truck. And it's heartening to see the efforts of the Monrovia Firefighters Association is raising funds to not only restore it, but to get together a trailer so that we could move it around to future displays. It was a great celebration of Monrovia, of Route 66, in spite of the rain. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that was involved. That concludes my report, Madam Mayor. Oh, Madam Mayor, I have one last thing to say. All right.
See, I'm not the only one.
That's right. In honor of Cinco de Mayo today, I wanted to give a brief history of why it's relevant to everybody here in this room in America. On May 5th, 1862, a young Texas-born general of Mexican ancestry, Ignacio Zaragoza, led a Mexican army that was outnumbered 3-1 by the invading French Imperial Army at Puebla, and they defeated them thoroughly. The French continued to occupy parts of Mexico, but the battle did this, that benefited everybody in the United States. Unfortunately, the United States was just beginning the Civil War. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the beginning of the Civil War. The South was winning the first part of the war. Things were not going well. The French did not, they were led by a dictator, Napoleon III. He did not believe in democracy, and he actually wanted the United States to be split up. He wanted to aid the Confederacy. The U.S. Union Army or Navy had a blockade on the coast, so his plan was to funnel arms through Mexico, through Texas, to the Confederacy. With the Mexican army stopping the French, or at least slowing them down, it gave the Union Army, Abraham Lincoln, time for the Union Army to basically defeat the Confederates. So thanks to the efforts of the Mexican Army on Cinco de Mayo, 1862, the Confederacy plans of victory were thwarted. So that's how this date is important, not just for people of Mexican ancestry, but really the United States citizens as well. So I just wanted to point that out, Madam Mayor, and thank you very much, and happy Cinco de Mayo, Madam Mayor, and rest of the council and audience.
And we had a very nice Mexican dinner this evening. Thank you to staff for making that all happen as well. I have a few items. One, Larry normally reports on this, but I wanted to give a shout out to the adult school. On Tuesday, May 19th, the adult school will have a healthcare job fair, and that, again, will be on Tuesday, May 19th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the adult school there on Mountain Avenue. They've been doing such a great job with their job fairs and just turning out hundreds of people. So if you're someone that's looking for a job in the healthcare industry, again, the Monrovia Community Adult School will be having one on Tuesday, May 19th from 10 to 12. I too attended both the museum exhibit unveiling there. That was on Thursday, April 30th, and then followed them obviously this weekend by all the activities in the park, and then the MOHPG, the tour, and I know that Edie ran her tail off going from place to place, and with the rain and everything else, and but it was beautiful. Edie, you did a great job. But one of the fun things is that I normally don't eat ice cream, and on Thursday I had a drumstick, and on Sunday I had a drumstick from the Good Humor, the Good Humor truck. So that was great. And the home I was at was on Shamrock, a part of Route 66, and owned by Dan and Mary Wall, the owner of the drum store on Myrtle. At any rate, his home was restored by the the restored HGTV renovation program. At any rate, it was a lot of fun, and if any of you have ever watched that program, you know the guy wears this big, giant cowboy hat. Well, the story behind that is he doesn't really want to wear the cowboy hat. That's the show makes him do that. But at any rate, and they had that particular episode playing in the living room of that home. So it was a lot of fun, and a little bit of trivia. My husband and I at the potluck the night before, we sat with Dan and Mary, and Dan started talking about, for some reason we started talking about El Monte, and then all of a sudden he said his father graduated from Arroyo High School, and we said, well, Chris and I graduated from Arroyo High School. Well, what year did your dad graduate? Well, I'm not sure, 70, 70, 71, 72. Went home that night, looked at my annual, and we actually graduated from high school with Stan Wall, who was Dan Wall's father. So, hey, small world. I did want to report to council that I am on it's only going to be about maybe 4 meetings, but it's a ad hoc looking into SB 79 and what we might be able to do to combat some of the effects of SB 79, which is the high-density housing within a certain radius of like our Gold Line station. At any rate, the Harbedian bill, AB 2576, has pretty much been gutted. There's nothing left of it. The thing about the population and the 10% and all that, it's gone. And the date restriction of January 1st, 2025 is still in effect. The 10% is still in effect, that you can only protect 10% of the historic assets in a particular vicinity. And so the only thing that it will do under the original provision, it said that, which we already have, your historic resources have to be approved by a local body, which we already do. Well, they're going to add state and federal, because some of the cities that are affected, they don't have their local body approve those. So it does provide that, but it's really not going to give us much help at all. And there is another bill, SB Durazo 1361, and Metro they were asking for a little carve out that it would not include the metro lines within LA County, and that's, as I understand, that didn't get out of committee. That was turned down. And also there is, apparently there was some portion of that had to do with cities taking action to, quote unquote, avoid instituting SB 79 measures by curtailing bus service. So that's been added in there. So I don't really know in particular how much we're going to be able to do to really protect ourselves on that one, but regardless, other than SB 79, there are a lot of other things on the books that already do many things to provide for high-density housing that we have no control over, but very disappointing that the Harbedian bill didn't get more traction. And then just out of that ad hoc, in fact, we just met on April 28th. We are recommending to the governing board to oppose SB 1361, and so that won't be heard until May 21st, I think it is. Yes, it's May 21st. So if you have any issues, we can talk about that at our next council meeting. Did want to highlight that we went, Sergio and I were there for the ribbon cutting for Casa, and so was Dylan, for Casa Colina, the rehabilitation rehab location there on Foothill. Absolutely fantastic renovation there, and they are going to be providing, or they already are providing, great resources, or great service for people especially needing neuro type of rehab, stroke and things like that. But great addition to our city. Wanted to highlight, remember this Saturday, the fire department, Fire Service Day, go get your pancakes. Oh, Jeremy, Jeremy, thank you very much, Jeremy. He came to the coordinating council on Monday, and he was talking about Fire Service Day, and he made mention something about beer and the pancakes. So we were saying, well, maybe that's a part of their secret sauce there, but only joking. They're not putting beer in the pancakes, but we had a good time teasing him, but beer came up in the conversation. But at any rate, all good. Come out and support our fire department. That is from 7 to 11 a.m. on this Saturday. And later in the month in May, we have two veterans events or Memorial Day events. Saturday, before Memorial Day, that is the traditional Board of Supervisors. Catherine Barger has her big event at Santa Anita Park. And then on Memorial Day itself, the Allied Veterans will be putting on their normal Memorial Day event at 10 a.m. at Turner and Stevens or Live Oak Cemetery. Could I ask, and I meant to ask that when you were doing your report, can we get an update on the Cubs at our next meeting? Unless you have one right now.
Yeah, I don't have one. I don't have enough for now, so we'll get an update.
I was trying to find something online. I found a couple of news videos, but nothing real specific. So if we could get that, that would be great. And I wanted to, I think I got everything on as I scribbled down
Madam Mayor?
notes. Yes?
Could I just make one amendment? I wanted to recognize Rebecca Sandoval for all her hard work along with her staff for the Route 66 event. There's no record of someone handling and staff, no previous year's record where you had to put together an event that included the museum, the west part of the park, shutting down Shamrock, Fred's, the church parking lot, and staff led by Rebecca did a wonderful job, as well as the fire department and the police department. But Rebecca, she really deserves our respect and applause.
And I will say that Rebecca, it's been seamless. Tina would always do all of the techie stuff for our coordinating council meetings. And Rebecca has stepped in, and it's totally flawless. So thank you very much for that as well, Rebecca. And other than that, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to everyone this weekend. And whether you actually birthed a child or you took care of one and raised one, kudos to you, and all the best wishes for a great Mother's Day. And as I always said, it shouldn't be just one day a year. That's a 365-day praise. It should be. Okay, with that, somebody's giggling. Okay, moving on then to our administrative reports. AR1, and on my report, honey, thank you for coming to the council meeting. I can see you're just having such a great time out there. Okay, AR1, fiscal year 2025-26 budget update, resolution number 2026-18. And Ray, Administrative Services Director, will be leading this discussion. And I just want to say thank you so very much. These budget updates are really, really invaluable. And so, no surprises.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening again, Mayor Shevlin and members of City Council. Thank you for your time tonight. And the presentation before you is the fiscal year 25-26 third quarter budget update. But following in Victoria's lead, maybe I should go budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always a fun topic.
See how much fun we have, honey?
And a hard copy of this evening's presentation slides have been provided to you for reference as well. So the purpose of tonight's presentation is to provide a budget update and a high-level overview of the city's finances as we close out fiscal year 25-26. We're also presenting proposed budget adjustments for your consideration, which better align the budget with our latest estimates, and this will be the final budget adjustment for the current fiscal year. Lastly, we'll also provide updates on several other discussion items. So as a high-level financial overview, the city continues to remain in a stable financial position. However, some uncertainty does still persist in the broader economy, including federal-level changes such as tariffs, funding freezes, and recent conflicts in the Middle East, which can have potential impacts to the city. That said, most major revenues, including property tax and sales tax, are still currently performing as projected. Where we may see this impact us is in the cost of goods and services, as inflation has increased from 2.7% in December of 2025 to 3.3% as of March of this year. Overall, the city does still remain in a flexible position and can adjust as needed. This slide here provides a high-level summary of the city's budget across all city funds. Overall, total revenues are proposed to decrease from approximately $166.8 million to $148.8 million, and expenditures are also proposed to decrease from approximately $157.7 million to $145.8 million. We'll take a closer look at the proposed adjustments that get us here, but I did want to mention that as council is aware, when expenditures exceed revenues for a given line, for example, the internal services funds at the bottom, it indicates the use of reserves that have been set aside in a previous period for use in this period. So let's start with the general fund revenue adjustments. Overall, revenues continue to be stable. Our major revenue categories, such as sales tax, property tax, and TOT, continue to perform as projected, so no budget adjustments are being proposed for those specific items. However, staff is proposing a budget reduction of approximately $1.05 million for development-related impact fees, as the developers for this particular project opted to establish the parcel as a CFD, or Communities Facilities District, instead. A decrease is also being proposed for CEQA-related technical review revenues for a total amount of $317,400, which is partially offset by a corresponding decrease in related professional services costs of $276,000. Additionally, a $500,000 reduction is also being proposed related to a long-standing code enforcement case settlement for Mesa Circle. And decreases in plan check revenues, fire system permit revenues, and state reimbursements are also being proposed for approximately $135,000, $75,000, and $71,600, respectively. These general fund decreases are offset by an increase in one-time PFAS settlement revenues of approximately $592,000. And lastly, increases in a variety of revenue sources such as donations, facility rental revenues, reimbursements, and program registrations totaling $83,505 is also being proposed.
Ray, since I
Yes.
brought up the opioid settlement monies, how much longer do those go?
I believe the opioid settlements, Dylan is chiming in.
There are several opioid settlements. I believe we're up to 6 or 7 now, and they go from several years up to, I believe, 18 years total. And
Oh,
we've been
my.
collecting on some.
Right.
They get paid out over time in increments.
And they're in different amounts.
Correct, correct. And they're all accounted for outside of the, in their own separate funds.
Okay, great. Thank you. This slide here summarizes our general fund revenue movement for the current fiscal year. As you can see, no changes to our major revenue categories are being proposed, and the total general fund revenue adjustments being proposed for this final quarter is a reduction of around 1.4 million in the all other revenues category. Now, let's take a look at general fund expenditure adjustments of $50,000 or more. First, an increase of $100,000 is being proposed to support expenses related to the city's nomination as a 2026 All-America City finalist. Next, decreases in building-related expenses of $146,000 and $105,000 are being proposed, reflecting lower than anticipated professional and inspection services costs, respectively. A decrease of $150,000 is also being proposed in strike overtime expenditures due to lower than projected levels of mutual aid deployments this year.
When you say strike teams, that's the fire.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yes. And lastly, a reallocation of around $158,000 is being proposed to simply move the budget for parking lot lease payments from economic development to the more appropriate non-departmental division budget. This slide summarizes the general fund expenditures for the current fiscal year. As you can see, the proposed adjustments total a decrease of approximately $460,000 in expenditures. So when factoring in all of the proposed revenue and expenditure adjustments to the general fund, we're estimating to close the fiscal year with a general fund surplus of approximately $611,000, $592,000 of which is attributable to that one-time PFAS-related settlement revenues, which are set aside in reserves for a designated future purpose.
So those can't be used just for general fund purposes?
Correct. We are holding them and accounting for them in a separate reserve account. And next, we'll take a look at our other city funds or non-general funds. So this table here provides a high-level summary of the city's non-general funds. It shows a current budget and proposed budget figures for the fiscal year. Overall proposed revenues are approximately $75.8 million, and proposed expenditures are approximately $76.2 million. Again, excess expenditures over revenues is based on the planned use of reserves that have been set aside in a prior fiscal year. We'll go through the adjustments in the next few slides.
Can you explain, can you define or give an example of an enterprise fund?
Of course. An enterprise fund example would be our water fund or our sewer fund.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. So taking a look at the notable revenue adjustments first in our non-general fund accounts. First is related to the Traffic Safety Fund, and an increase of $70,000 is being proposed to adjust for sweeping parking fines, reflecting higher than anticipated enforcement activity during the year. Next is an adjustment in the Fire Grants Fund for a decrease of approximately $182,000 in SHISHUP revenues, which is offset by an equivalent expenditure adjustment of the same amount. Next is a decrease in our Capital Improvement Fund for updated estimates of construction dwelling unit taxes of $55,000. And next is a decrease of around $273,000 in traffic impact fee revenues due to funds received in a prior fiscal year, as well as updated TIF estimates for the 127 West Pomona project, or the ADEPT project. And lastly, for revenue adjustments for non-general funds, an increase of approximately $302,000 in open space impact fees, reflecting higher than anticipated revenues related to Station Square South, is also being proposed. Next are notable expenditure adjustments in our non-general fund accounts. And the first is an increase of $175,000 to cover electricity costs based on updated estimates and usage trends. Our City Manager Dylan Feek did give a brief update of this at our study session as well as it relates to our assessment districts. Staff continues to explore options to close the funding gap caused by the existing assessment districts, especially in light of the increases in operational and electricity costs. There are also increases being proposed in the water fund, namely expenditures in the amounts of $100,000 and $30,000 to cover emergency repairs and additional maintenance costs. These increases are partially offset by a proposed reduction of utility payment processor fees due to the implementation of the credit card processing fee, and that amount is approximately $98,000, which is great. Lastly, an increase of $85,000 for cleaning services is being proposed for the facilities maintenance fund to account for contract costs and service levels for this fiscal year. As a note, a complete listing of all revenue adjustments and expenditure adjustments by fund is included as Attachment A to Resolution Number 2026-18. I'd like to take this time to pause to see if City Council has any questions before we move forward to an update on Measure K.
I had one. Thank you so much. It's really great so far. Going back to the general fund, there was a reduction in the development fees because they opted for a community facilities district, right? Do we have that in the other fund then?
Yes, so communities, facilities, districts are accounted for in a separate fund. However, instead of large one-time impact fee payments, those payments are made correct over time. So even though we're feeling the impact of the budget reduction for those one-time payments over time, CFD payments in lieu of those impact fees will cover those costs instead.
And do those go under enterprise or
those are special revenue, correct.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Of course. Any other questions before we move on to Measure K?
And just, I want to comment for anyone maybe even listening in, we had a very in-depth study session first. So it's not that we're not full of questions. We had many of our questions answered in the study session. So but you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. We welcome any and all questions. Okay, so moving on to Measure K. So we wanted to provide Council with a quick update on Measure K and how the funds are doing. As Council will recall, the 2025 Measure K spending plan was approved in December of 2024, which outlined 7 unique projects and appropriated approximately $16 million of Measure K funds. And work is either complete or underway in most of these projects. On February 3rd, City Council received a presentation regarding the library enhancement project and directed staff to prepare revised plans as the city no longer anticipates spending $6 million on the project. At this time, the updated estimate for the revised scope of the project is $2 million and is anticipated to be funded through the library fund instead of Measure K. As a result, the updated Measure K spending plan has been updated to remove the library enhancement project for an updated appropriations of amount of a little over $10 million. As shown on this slide, most projects are complete or near completion, with senior enhancements remaining below the total approved spending plan amount of $200,000. Staff is proposing that any unspent funds for this fiscal year for the senior enhancement programs be reserved for future council consideration. Staff is also currently developing the 26-27 budget update, and Measure K revenues and proposed expenditures will be included at that time.
I did have a question, something that just came up. I meant to put it under my report. What fund does our rental program come up? The rental, it's only a one-time only, but it supplements, it helps people that need rental assistance.
So the general fund provides funding for HDRP and FAS. So HDRP is the one that provides rental assistance. FAS is kind of the wraparound services that can support that as well. This funding, the senior program enhancements, does include HDRP and FAST funding specifically for seniors. So the general programs for the public are paid for directly out of general fund. The senior-only programs come out of Measure K.
Yes. And I just wanted to bring up, because the COG has a new program called SGV Home, and it's monies that were brought in through La Casa, through the renter protection programs. And I don't know to what extent that we might be able to avail ourselves of some of that funding, or if it's directly through a provider and an individual.
Like the
But
Foothill Unity
yeah,
Center.
right.
I already informed the board president at the Unity Center regarding the application process, so she's well aware.
And I hope they can jump
We will
on
see.
board on that. So in fact, I just had a conversation with the COG today, and they are following up with the Foothill Unity Center, not trying to.
Was that a second chance or something? Okay, good.
Yeah. So, but that is possibly an opportunity for us to have some additional monies for that category.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much. On the revenue side for Measure K continues to be strong. And based on recent updates from the city's sales tax consultant, Measure K revenues are anticipated to perform better than expected. As a result, an increase of $530,000 is being proposed. This increase is primarily attributable to the growth in delivery-based and e-commerce transactions, so your Grubhub, your DoorDash, your Postmates, and your online purchases, along with one-time allocations from certain vendors. Also shown on this slide is the estimated fund balance for Measure K, given the proposed adjustments in both revenues and expenditure this evening. The estimated 25-26 fund balance for this fund is approximately $31 million, and 26-27 estimated fund balance is anticipated to be $38.6. However, staff is still currently developing the 26-27 budget update, and any changes to this estimate will be included in that proposal. As a note, the Measure K Citizen Advisory Committee did meet on Tuesday, March 24th, and will meet again in September. Next, I would like to do a quick review of our Capital Improvement Program, or CIP, for the current fiscal year. As discussed at our earlier study session, the CIP program is classified into 8 distinct categories, and there are over 40 different projects programmed for the current fiscal year. And as part of this update, staff reviewed all CIP projects, focusing on timelines, updated costs, and even the timing of reimbursements. Based on this review, staff is proposing the following adjustments: a decrease of approximately $16.8 million in revenues, primarily attributable to 2 factors. The first is the timing of state and federal reimbursements for the Canyon Park project. Approximately $13.1 million of this is being rolled over from this year's revenue budget to next fiscal year's budget. In addition, we're also proposing a rollover of ACTV grant reimbursements to the next fiscal year, 26-27, as the project is still in its preliminary phase. So the revenue decreases are primarily due to the timing of reimbursements and activity in our projects. Next, we're also proposing decreases in CIP expenditures of approximately $11.6 million. And this decrease is primarily due to 2 projects. First is the reduced scope and budget for the library enhancement project. That decrease is $7.8 million, a large part of it which was previously funded by Measure K. And the other project is the ACTV project, and as expenditures for this CIP are also being rolled over into the next fiscal year. A detailed listing of budgeted projects, descriptions, and project status are included as Exhibit 1 to this report. In addition, Attachment B to Resolution Number 2026-18 itemizes all of the CIP adjustment proposals for this evening. I did want to mention a few projects that we've recently completed, namely Satoru Tsuneishi, Booster Pumps 1 to 6 reconstruction, Huntington Drive-In 5th, close to being completed, a sewer jetter truck that was recently delivered, and of course, Mountain Avenue and Peck Road. In addition to these completed projects, there are 30 other projects in various stages for this fiscal year, including the community center renovation design work and the broadband accessibility project. So, in summary, this is the final budget update for the current fiscal year 25-26, and it better aligns the current year budget with updated estimates. The general fund is projected to have approximately $600,000 of surplus at June 30 of this fiscal year, and staff is currently working on developing the 26-27 budget update. The first study session covering CIP and fees was earlier this evening, and the second study session is scheduled for May 19th for a review of the operating budget, with formal budget approval scheduled for June 16th. And with that, I'd like to thank you again for your time. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great report. Any questions of staff? And again, this is our last, then, our quarterly for 25-26.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you very, very much, because it really does keep us all abreast of where our dollars are going. And so there are no surprises when you do the next budget, like, oh my goodness, where did that go?
We like it too.
So thank you very much. With that, did you
did
have a
have one-
question?
Well, I'm sure you can explain it to me afterwards if you want. But it looks like we lowered the, like the SIP revenues, like decreased significantly, right?
Yes.
So shouldn't I see like a big shift in our revenues in the city other funds? Because they're coming out of those other funds, right?
Yes. So if I may go back.
But on the revenue, I see it went up and not down. And
So let's go back to the overall, the 50,000 foot level.
Yeah.
So not that one, because, and I'll explain
Oh.
why in just a second.
Okay.
Thank you for that question. It gives me an opportunity to clarify. So our SIP revenues, for example, the FEMA reimbursements actually fall under that general fund, other funds category. So, yes, so that's where you'll see that major decrease. Yep, yeah, of course, no problem.
But we are going to get all that money back, right?
In time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
If there are no.
Can I make just a
Sure.
quick comment? So we actually have our insurance folks that are like begging us to send a $4 million check to the city of Monrovia. And we're kind of pushing back saying, no, please don't, because the second that we receive that check, Cal OES and FEMA is going to go back to what they owe us, and they might deduct that.
Oh, my.
And so we're doing everything we can and trying to bide our time until we get the money in hand from the state and Fed, and then we can even deal with insurance too. So it's very complex, even, 6 years after the incidents, so.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for all your hard work, and we will look
you.
forward
Thank
to the next installment on May 19th.
Yes.
At any rate, this is an item that we do require a motion, and so our options are to adopt Resolution 2026-18 to approve the proposed budget adjustments or reject them. So
Motion to approve or to adopt resolution number 2026-18.
we have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Council members Belden.
Yes.
Dr. Kelly.
Yes.
Spicer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jimenez.
Yes.
And Mayor Shevlin.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, it does bring us to the end of our agenda. We have no further business before us. We are, and I wrote notes all over this, we are concluding our meeting this evening in memory of Luciano Scorsia, grandfather of Luke Bernacchi, Community Services Administrative Assistant. And so our hearts and prayers go with the family. And we also celebrate the birth, though, of little Zion. So with that, we are adjourned at 9:22 p.m. And thank you, honey, for
Oh, he looks so bored. He looks so bored.
What happened was, I picked up, when I went to get the thing, it was all underneath, there was only the top sheet. And I went, okay, that's not gonna work. Here, we can